seeing that it is August 20th, 2025, now at 7:08 p.m. I now call the Sherborn Board of Health to order. Given this is a virtual meeting, open meeting law states board members must announce themselves as present. And so we will do so according to alphabetical roll call.
Steve Constantine, present.
Julie Dreyfus, present.
Diana Hook, present.
Is Rebecca on? I didn't notice.
I don't see.
Okay, then Daryl Beardsley present.
Sarah or Mark or anyone, if Rebecca does join, could someone please highlight that so we can make sure we know her presence and when she joins?
Will do.
First order of business. Do we have any not reasonably anticipated items within the last 48 hours and we need to amend the agenda? I have one. I'm not seeing anyone raising their hand. We do have a food establishment permit for approval for an event happening this weekend. So I move to amend the agenda to include the food establishment permit for David Verdo Catering.
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Okay, perfect. And did anyone else have an amendment? Nope, sounds good. All right. Mark, you noted that one of your that the owner of 40 Bogastow Brook is here. So why don't
Yes.
we go ahead and take that?
Okay,
that
so
first.
we received a building application for 40 Bogastow Brook Road. It's number BPA building permit application 25-143. I was reviewing it with the contractor. I don't know if he's here. His name is Sandro. And the issue, and I also sent a request to Daryl just to help me out with the room count. The room count, first of all, it's a 9-room, it's allowed to have 9 rooms. It's a 4-bedroom septic system. Let me make sure on that. No, it's allowed to have, it's a 5-bedroom septic system. It was approved in 1982. There's a recent Title V inspection with it passing from 2019. And back then they designed it differently because it was a different code. But in my room count, which we may have the plans on file, I don't know if those can be drawn up. I can go over how I did the room count. Daryl, feel free to join in as well because, you know.
Yeah, okay, here we go.
So the house itself, that's the basement you're looking at. It has I thought was pretty neat. It has a hidden room in the basement plus a living area. The hidden room's over to the left bottom. If whoever has the cursor, there we go. And then it has the main living room above, main living area above / office, a TV room and a gym. So I count 4 rooms in the basement. And talking to the contractor, Sandros, he basically said that he could open up the wall to the TV room, and I think we have that plan available. And just so the board knows, my other room counts, I had 8, 5 on the first floor, that included a master bedroom, and 3 bedrooms on the second floor. One of the bedrooms has a sitting area. And so I have 8 there and then 4 in the basement. So for a 5-bedroom house, you can have up to 11 rooms, but this would exceed that with the 4 rooms in the basement, bringing it up to 12 rooms total. So there's the proposal to open up the TV room, and the contractor did state, and we should have a plan somewhere showing that he's calling the main living space and TV room as one versus having 2 labeled rooms. And that's one of the requests I have for the board to look at that one you just went by, that plan there, to see if you would consider that now 3 rooms, or would you consider it 4 rooms? And that would be one of the discussions. And then there was some, I think, Daryl, you were looking at the first floor as well to see if, and that's the shaded plans that are below, to see if the first floor is indeed a 5-room, and I have the plans here as well, or is it 4 rooms? So or 6 rooms rather. So those are the 2 areas of discussion. And it just, I think we're looking, I'm just trying to, that's the 2nd floor, I believe, with a loft below. And let me get to my plans too. They're easier to see on my copied plans. Second.
Yeah.
Sarah, can you blow that up a little bit? Please. Or zoom in.
I'm working on it. So sorry.
That's okay, thank you.
So what you're looking at is the 2nd floor. There's 2 bedrooms to the right and the master bedroom to the left. And then there's an overlook to the bottom from the loft area to the very far left.
I'm sorry, Mark. I'm going to stop you for just a second. I'm going to
Yep.
stop sharing and switch how I'm sharing it so I'll be able to
Okay.
zoom more.
Thank you.
Well, while Sarah's doing that, Mr. Judge, I see that the building plans or the floor plan we have before us for the existing house is from, I think it's 1981. I just want to confirm that this building plan reflects the existing condition of the home as it stands.
Yes, it does, ma'am.
Thank you. So Sarah, are you able to zoom that in? That is the existing first floor. It will just be helpful for everyone. Okay, perfect. You might need to zoom more.
So now you're looking at the 1st floor.
Excellent, thank you.
Excuse me. And you'll see there's the family room, well, if you want to start on that side, there's a primary bedroom to the very far left. This is the 1st floor. And then there's the family room, the living room, the dining room, and then the kitchen / eating area, and then entry off the garage, mudroom kind of area, bathroom. So I counted that as 5. And Darrow, did you see that as 5 as well when I sent the plans to you?
Yes,
Okay.
same.
That's how I've counted it too, Mark. I
Oh,
counted
okay,
that as
Julie, that's
5.
right. I'm sorry if I didn't include you. I couldn't remember who I
That's
sent it to. I was in between my vacation weeks, so I'm not for sure who had it. And then the 2nd floor I count as 3, if we can jump down to that plan. And it's unique in the respect that to the very far left, it's open to the bottom. It's kind of an open area to the very far left.
And that open area is, to me, it looks like there's no access from the 2nd floor at all.
And I would have to ask Michael if that's
Yeah,
the,
there's a spiral that's
Yeah.
circular. There's a spiral staircase coming up from our master bedroom on the 1st floor. That's how we access the 2nd floor.
thank you.
And this looks like this lofted space. I'm guessing it has like a railing and is open. There's no doors or anything to close it off.
That's correct. It's a railing that look down to our bedroom.
Okay, that makes sense.
And
Thank you.
then, yeah, and then I count the bedroom, sitting room, the next room from left to right. That's all enclosed by one door. I count that as one room. It's just a master bedroom suite, I would call it. And then I count the other 2 bedrooms to the right. So I get 3 bedrooms on the 2nd floor, 3 rooms total. If that's the way the board sees it.
Yeah,
That's how I count it too.
same
Okay,
for
so
me.
thank you. And now to the plan of discussion would be the ground floor, and that's where they want to do the work at a dry bar and resurface some areas and so forth. That's the main reason for the building application. And that floor, presently I would count as 4 rooms, but the contractor is working with me to try to get it down to 3 rooms, so we'll have a total of 11 rooms with the room count.
So that, just to make sure I heard you correctly, I think you said it's a 5-bedroom system, not a
That
4-bedroom system?
that is
Okay.
correct. 1981 5-bedroom septic system.
Okay.
Sarah, could you move down to the proposed basement floor plan?
And there is two. There's one of existing and there's one, this is the proposed. And the applicant did submit a new plan, looks just like this, but he relabeled the main area in the basement, main living space, and the TV room with arrows showing it as the main living space. He didn't label the room that's being opened up as a TV room, just to keep it as one named room versus more than one named room. So, and this is the part that I needed to bring to the board to see if this will suffice, or if indeed it may need a deed recording. If it, Michael, help me on this. Is it, I can't
Yes, sir.
remember, a walkout basement?
Yes, sir. Over on the far right of our screen where it says gym, and then I'm sorry, yes, and then just to the top, there's 2 doors right there. Yes, that is a walkout to the
Okay.
backyard or side yard, I should say.
Is the TV room living area more than half below grade or more into the grade?
I would say on the right side where it says 2 windows next to those doors, that's all above grade, but on the other side of the house, it's almost entirely below grade, with the exception of, while there are no windows, I would say that if there were those sort of eyelet windows, it would probably be like a small amount, maybe 2 feet above grade. The majority is below.
Thank you. That helps in the decision if the deed recording may be required. That's up to the board, but the board will see in the main living space that there's a dry bar proposed there, and the other work is drywall and painting and so forth. That's the dry bar right there, yes. So it's
So
up
what
to,
I'm wrestling with is that if this space, the main living space in the TV room and the stairs were on a first floor, I would view them as 2 rooms.
Yeah.
Because there is a fair amount of separation. If there was no wall alongside the staircase, so you had a really big open room with a staircase coming down in the middle, that would be 1 room to me. But the walls give enough separation into what's above. So the moment I'm inclined to think a deed recording, maybe for the hidden room or something, would permit, or just whichever room we choose. It can't be the gym room because of the walkout, but
If I may, and I'm not
that's where I
sure
am at the
that this
moment.
adds any benefit, the hidden room we're also opening up. It's for all intents and purposes, it's very much like a utility room, but that wasn't used for that. I don't know what the prior owner used it
Oh.
for when we bought it. Where there's in front of the hidden room before, there were like, it was like a little, I don't know how else to call it other than like a toy closet that you could walk to the back,
Oh.
and it had a false wall to it that opened into a room. So we just took out, what we're suggesting is just take out the closet and sort of open it up. Because we don't need it for anything. We don't need a hidden room. We don't have anything to hide.
Okay. Well, if you merge the hidden room with the rest of the space, then it could be just a very large main living space and a TV room and a gym.
That's what we've asked our contractor to do, just to open it up.
Oh, okay.
okay, that's new to me, but that's a nice idea, in my view, a good idea.
Yeah,
It was,
that gets it down to 11.
Yes.
and it was a cemented wall, unfinished in there, but the prior homeowner had some cabinetry in there that it really, it looked like a kitchen without plumbing. It was really odd. I don't understand
Okay.
what it was used for at all, and it had or has a dehumidifier in it, which I just never understood what possibly it could be used for. So we've just decided to hope to open it up, and as a result, that the dry bar probably won't go down that far because we've opened it up. So it'd be more, it'd just be shorter.
Okay.
So if I can just ask a question, the updated plan will start at where the door is for the hidden room and then continue to the left to the dry bar, a little beyond the edge of the dry bar, that wall will be eliminated?
That's what our hope is. That's what we're looking to do. Yes,
And will that be on a future plan or?
I could ask the contractor. Frankly, this is the first time I've seen this.
Yeah, and he did provide another plan just to show main living space with arrows to the TV room, but your suggestion to remove that wall is a great idea, as the board's indicating that could make the main living space one big area. In the dry bar, you can figure out where you want to put that once that wall is removed, as member Constantine just asked, so if we could get
Yes.
a plan showing that wall removed, call it the main living area, don't call anything a hidden room, that would probably solve the issue of the room count. I will wait for the board to say anything else that might part of that.
I do have one other comment. That is, if you decided not to remove the wall for the hidden room, it sounds like it's not a finished space. They're not finished walls
not.
with sheetrock.
No, it's the
Does it have any
foundation.
flooring?
No,
Oh,
it's
okay.
it's a cement flooring, not even a rug on it, like even like an area rug. It was just a
Mhm.
cement floor, cement wall. It's the foundation. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
With
So the other thing is,
to be clear, it had that weird cabinet on the wall. Yeah.
but that's storage potentially, just storage. And
Yeah.
so for rooms that don't have finished surfaces,
Yes.
either if one of the surfaces is not finished, the walls, the floor, the ceiling, it's an unfinished room.
Yes.
We view that more as storage,
Yes.
and it doesn't count as a room. So
Oh,
we change back to wanting
Yeah.
storage, we could treat it that way.
however, the board obviously would deem fit, I'd be happy to do. Our hope was to open it up and just make it part of the main living space.
Which is fine
Yeah.
also. I just wanted to give you the option in case
Thank you.
you had second
I
thoughts.
appreciate that. If the board would prefer that we keep it closed off and make it a storage room, I'd be happy to do that as well.
No, we don't have a preference
Okay.
between the two
So
options.
what I'd ask is your contractor resubmit these plans and show that either as a storage room unfinished or show the wall removed and send that back to us and add it to the building application. That will keep the room count down to 11.
Yes, sir. I'll have him do that hopefully tomorrow.
Excellent. Thank you.
And with that said, you wouldn't have to open up the TV room.
Yep, that's great.
Okay, thank you. If it's possible, could we keep it? Because we do like just the more open floor
Oh.
plan.
Sure.
And
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
believe, I see on this that there's a wall there. I thought that was coming down along the stairwell. So that when you come down, that you can see on both sides.
Oh, okay.
That was our goal, our hope.
I'm glad you joined the meeting because this is news to
Yes.
me and it helped actually.
Again, this is the first,
You might-
this is interesting to see your own basement, I guess, for the first time. So I'm not sure why I've never been provided this, but.
Okay, so that could bring you down to 10 rooms,
Yeah.
depending on what the new
Okay.
plans come in like.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
You might be able to have another extra room someday. if
Yeah,
that's
sure.
the case, so.
All right, so Mr. Judge,
what
do
you
you
can't
feel?
have is a full bathroom down there. Well,
Yes.
No, we just have
Actually,
it's
maybe.
just a half bathroom down there. Yeah.
yeah, okay.
So Mr. Judge, do you feel like you have a good handle on what your options are going forward?
Very much so. Yes. Thank you kindly to all of you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Orm, I'll have hopefully have the contractor get that back to you tomorrow or the next day as soon as I can get in touch with him.
Okay, and just have him send me a note that it's been repopulated on the building application. That would be great, and he's welcome to reach out to me. In fact, tomorrow morning, I'll try to reach out to him as well.
Wonderful. Thank you all very much, board members.
Thank you
Have
so
a good
much.
night.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Is it okay for me to log out? Should I log out
Oh,
now?
yes,
Okay,
you're welcome
okay.
to stay. It
All
is a
right, all
public
right.
meeting, but there's
Okay.
nothing else we're gonna address with your
Very
property,
good.
so
Thank
it's
you. Good
your
evening all. All
prerogative.
right. Good evening all. Thank you again for your
Thank
time.
you. Okay, hang on, let me tab through. Mark, who else? There are some phone numbers here that I don't recognize, but I don't think.
I believe
Bob
that,
is-
oh, Rebecca was on, she was one of the phone numbers, but the one that just left. I
Oh,
believe that was Rebecca. And then, 508 came in as a dial-in number, so that means someone is joined on their, through their phone, if someone's speaking on their phone, I'm not sure.
okay. So let's pause. Member Honeywell, if you are present, can you please announce yourself?
And I wouldn't know if the 508 with the 711 last number might have been the builder for 40 August, so I don't know if they wish to announce themselves, but if they
I see.
do, I do see Rebecca now live.
Rebecca, could you announce yourself for the record? I'm not hearing Rebecca. Is anyone else hearing Rebecca?
I cannot
No.
hear her at this
I
No.
point.
can't hear her.
Rebecca, can you hear us? She's talking, that's for sure, yeah. You're
Yeah.
muted, Rebecca. Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think that this phone number 50871 might be the audio for Rebecca, so I'm gonna unmute them.
Okay.
Rebecca, can you
Excellent.
try again?
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
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 Excellent. I am present. Thank you.
Okay. Noting member Honeywell's attendance at 7:30. Okay.
I've actually been in the meeting for like since
Oh.
7:06, but I haven't been able to. I'm having, I'm on my phone, and it hasn't been able to. I don't know. It's a problem, but anyway, I'm present.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm sorry if we missed you. We also started a little late. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know when you started, but you were. Mark was speaking when I first entered the meeting, so whenever that was.
Okay.
It was before this last agenda item.
All right.
During the item, anyway, it doesn't matter.
Sounds good. So I see Bob Murchison is here. We have two items related to his business. We have the revised subject plan for Lot 4, and we also are going to discuss the waiver request for the Washington Street Sherborn homes. One I think is a lot shorter than the other, and I suggest we take that one first, which would be Lot 4. Let's see. Sarah, could you actually just pull up the first page of the plan for Lot 4? You might have to rotate it. Perfect. And maybe just zoom in. Sounds good. So if board members recall, we've seen this plan before. Before us, we have a revision to the property lines to increase the square footage of the lot. We have had our agent, which is Stantec, led by Mark Bartlett, review the proposed changes, and he has submitted a memo with comments to us. He notes that there have been property line changes at the northwest corner of the property, the east property line, and the northeast property line, so that the total square footage of this lot is now 50,108 square feet. He goes on to give, within his memo, a number of comments and suggestions to the board on, we'll call them small revisions, tweaks to the plan to be added, just for completeness and clarity, which includes showing of the dimension lines for each of the property line setbacks. If we see in the bottom of this page, there's a table depicting this, and I believe he's asking for that to be called out on the plan itself. He's also asking that the bearings and distances for the 3 smaller property lines, of which he details, also be shown on the latest plan. This is the lines that connect the eastern property line with the northern property line, and that connect 2 property lines in the southwest corner of the lot. I would say that, Sarah, you can zoom in. It's a busy plan. I'm not sure that everyone's going to see where this is, but certainly we can go and point to these lines if need be. And then he notes that this is going through the endorsement for the A&R plan by the planning board, which I believe happened yesterday, and that we just should confirm and reconcile that the endorsed plan by the planning board is consistent with this plan. Oh, and he also makes the recommendation that we confirm that the A&R plan has the stamp and seal of a registered land surveyor on it, certifying or stating that the lot contains 50,108 square feet. I did see an A&R plan come from the town planner today. It's a draft across it, so maybe she was just showing us what she had, and she didn't have the final, because they just had their meeting yesterday.
No, actually, Julie, I mean, the planning board has had the final since July 31st.
Okay, if I've missed something, I don't know if Sarah or Daryl have seen it. The thing that I saw just said draft across it.
Yeah, no, I mean, the final plan was posted with the town clerk and with the planning board on July 31st. It was in fact endorsed last night and is in transit to the Middlesex Registry of Deeds as we speak.
Okay, she may have just attached the wrong thing.
Yeah, no problem. And by the way, I'm more than happy to, and you all may want to make this part of your process and as part of your regulations, but I'm more than happy to have the A&R plan be in the file or attached to the septic plan, because they do need to be the same plan. That's clear, and they are the same plan. And so I think that would be a good change to your process and possibly your regulations going forward. But I have no objection to the A&R plan being put with this plan. I agree with you. The plan is quite busy. And unfortunately, that comes about because there are a lot of things that this board does like to see put on the plan, and that can make the plan busy, unfortunately. So the one thing I would add, I assume, Julie, that the board has seen my email from this afternoon, that I had a conversation and kind of worked out an agreement with Mark Bartlett. Did you see that email?
I have not.
It came in
seen it.
after 5 p.m., Julie, so.
Oh, so I was last on my email at 4:30 today.
Yeah, I think it came in about 5 past 5, or I sent it out about 5 past 5, 10 past 5. It was an email to Sarah, who I also spoke with about this. And Mark and I came up with a way to be able to resolve all of these kind of points that he made in his memorandum with a fairly simple certification from the engineer, which I've provided in that email. There's a certified stamped statement from the engineer, which says 3 things. If you want to, Daryl, if you have it, do you want to bring it up?
I close out my email so that I can maximize bandwidth
Sure.
for this meeting.
How about Sarah? Do you have that, Sarah, you could bring up?
Also, I would like time to reflect on it, I have to say.
Yeah, I I have no issues with engineers clarifying technical details with our agent. That is a goal for sure.
Mhm.
I have certainly not talked to Mark Bartlett today. I don't know if Daryl or if Sarah has had any correspondence with him today. It's completely
Sure.
possible.
In my email to you, and by the way, I only received the memorandum today. I was told about it earlier in the week, but I received it today. And in my email, I said that Mark had said that he was willing to take your telephone call to explain what he and I had discussed.
Yeah. If there had been more time, we certainly would reach out to him. So it sounds like there is new information. This is what I suggest because I don't think it makes sense for us to hack through this now, especially since Daryl and I haven't talked to Mark, and I don't know if Sarah has had a chance to talk to Mark Bartlett today. It's possible she's talked to him and I just don't know it. Sarah, did you talk to Mark Bartlett today or have an email with him?
I did not speak with him about this today, but in
Okay.
his original email that he sent, which I believe you were CC'd on, if not,
Yes, the original memo. That's what I was working on.
felt fairly,
Sure.
yeah.
No, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So I think we have two options here because this is what I'm hearing. So we can continue with what I believe is still a completely accurate memo and recommendations that we have from our agent, or we can, you know, move this to the next meeting when we've had time to review this and confirm with our agent. Because if there is something else that's been discussed or a change that's been made that we are unaware of, we certainly should be aware of that. And I just don't think it makes sense to do that in the course of a public meeting. That is prep work that should be done beforehand. So,
May I make an amendment to your suggestion?
well, I'm looking at, there's two options. We can just move forward as planned, or we can move this and then move this to
Well,
the next
but I
meeting
guess I
and then
don't
move
know
this.
what move forward as planned means.
Oh, I'm sorry. So move forward as planned is the memo which you received today, but have been previously briefed on, which is the recommendations that Mr. Bartlett has set forward. It is the stuff that I have already detailed. I've written out the motion, which would be showing the dimensional lines for the dimensions of the lines for the 6 property line setbacks, consistent with the setback to the property line table. That's just basically adding labeling onto the plan.
Mhm.
The bearings and distances for the 3 smaller property lines, he describes that in more detail in comment number 3 of his August 14th memo. Also be shown on the plan. So again, that's just labeling of bearings and distances. And then he also recommends that all property lines be noted with bearings and distances and confirmed either by our board or by him as the acting agent to match those shown on the A&R plan, which was I presume was endorsed yesterday, August 19th by the planning board. And that the agent or the board confirmed that the endorsed A&R plan is stamped by a registered Mass land surveyor, explicitly certifying that Lot 4 contains 50,108 square feet.
So Julie, working backwards through that list, the A&R plan would never be endorsed by the planning board if it were not stamped by a Massachusetts registered surveyor. And you will note in the letter, there is the detail on the name and license number of that surveyor and all of that. The plan is a survey that says the area of the lot is 50,108 feet. Does that meet the requirement? Because that's what's being recorded. I mean, this is not a Board of Health issue. This is a plan that is legally been determined by a surveyor, endorsed by the planning board, and it will be recorded tomorrow that says it's 50,108 feet. It is not normal to ask a surveyor to put something additional on an A&R plan that says what's already on the plan. The plan says it's 50,108 feet. It's tied out mathematically. It's a very, very precise process. And I'm not sure what you want. So let's talk about that for a second.
So I don't think we're saying different things here, Bob.
Okay, good.
I think I think we're actually saying the exact same thing. And again, I have not talked to Mark Bartlett about his memo, but he did not have the A&R plan in front of him when he reviewed this. And so he was confirming that this would need to be part of the A&R plan. I'm sure he knows that that is part of what would be on there, that there would be a stamp of the land surveyor. He is dotting his i's and crossing his t's, which is one of the things we appreciate about him. And so
Sure.
we're not saying anything, we are not saying anything different. We do not have that in front of us now because it only happened, yesterday that it was endorsed, and I don't expect someone to get it to us that fast. That's fine. So what I'm saying is we can move forward with his recommendations. And it sounds like these would be easy conditions to check off. Or we can continue our discussion of this at our September 3rd meeting.
Third.
Well, I guess I obviously
I see no reason to postpone it. I think that we can do this now. And maybe we
But
are
can-
saying the same thing in slightly different ways, but I don't
Okay.
think we're saying anything different.
Okay, but so I am willing to do that, but I want to go over a few of these things because I want to clarify with the board what you're requiring of me, so there's no question, because I don't want to come back in 2 weeks, right? I want to proceed. This has gone on and on and on, and I made a mistake, and I apologize to this board in person a month or two ago when I made the mistake, and I'm sorry that this has happened. However, I feel like there's some requirements being put on me that are very out of the ordinary. And so, for example, you're asking me the two major things you're asking me to do are on every line on the plan to put a bearing and a distance, right? That's what you're asking me, right?
That was the recommendation
Okay.
of our agent.
I understand that's a recommendation from your engineer. However, I've talked to him and he is willing to accept the letter that I sent you. Now, the issue for me is this. Your regulations do not require bearings or distances to be on the plan. Okay. Now, you may want to add those to your regulations. Perhaps you do want all the bearings on every line and you want a distance on every line on the plan. That is not in your a requirement in your plan regulations. The second thing I would say is I've gone back through not only my own approved plans with this board over the last several years, and as you know, I have, I think, 8 different single-family lots that have been approved. I've also gone back through other lots, properties, new construction that you've approved in recent times, and you don't have bearings on every line, and you don't even have distances on every line. I don't think that would be a bad requirement to put out there, to be honest with you, but it's not a requirement, and it's not been a practice or a process that you've had. And I do have difficulty when you ask me to do things that are not asked of other applicants or even myself previously. This is not something that is on, a huge number of plans that you've approved in the last couple of years. And now tonight, you are delaying my permit by asking me to do things that are not in your regulations and they're not in your process or past practice. And you're right, this is not a big deal. I can do this. But I must ask, why are you asking me to do something that is not in your regulations and it's not in your practice? And I'm willing to provide a certification from an engineer that says, with his stamp, his reputation and his stamp are on the line, And he is willing to say every one of those bearings and distances on every one of the lines on this lot are exactly the same as the A&R that has been endorsed by, and he's willing to say, as Mark asked, he is willing to say that every one of those setback dimensions has not changed. And so I guess, Julie, I hope you can understand my frustration that I feel like, and this is not the first time, I'm being asked to do things that are not in your regulations, your past practice with other applicants, or even with me. This is a new request on your part. And I'm willing to do something that's out of the ordinary. You've never, to my knowledge, asked for a certification. You just take the engineer's word for it. They show up with a plan that, matches the A&R, and you accept that. I am willing to give you a certification that every one of those bearings and every one of those distances on this plan are the same as the A&R endorsed last night by the planning board. And I guess I'm interested in how you kind of disagree with my thinking.
So I'll be happy to clarify a few of those
Sure.
points, Bob.
Thank you.
So one, this is the sixth revision of this plan, the latest of which was for a deficiency of 11 square feet. The changes to these property lines are not huge, but they are significant. And so the fact that our agent is narrowing in on that detail is, again, him being very thorough in his review and doing his job for this board. And so
And he and I spoke,
I do not fault him for that at all.
we agreed.
So-
When I spoke to him this afternoon, we agreed. We worked together to collaborate on a solution that gave him all the comfort that he said he needed. And I provided that to you as quickly as I could after that conversation, which was at 5 o'clock this afternoon. And I did, I'm compliant with what he wants. We achieved the certainty. What he is looking for at the end of the day is the plan before you tonight the same lines? All the bearings and all the distances on all the lines are the same as the A&R. My engineer has put his name on a certification that that is so. You don't ask that of other applicants. But in this case, I see what you're saying. It's complex, the lot lines have changed since it was approved in December. I totally get that. And you have every right to ask that the lines on the A&R are the lines on this plan. And they are. An engineer has certified to it. And that's kind of the gold standard in our business, in your business and my business. That's why we have engineers, because they do things precisely. And he's certified that the setbacks haven't changed, which was the other thing Mark wanted to make sure of, right? And so I've given you a certification that the lines are all exactly as were endorsed last night. And I've given you a certification, secondly, that the lot size, the lot area on the septic plan and on the A&R are 50,108 feet. And the third thing he certified is that the setbacks as shown on the plan have not changed from the approved plan in December. And like I said, I apologize to this board that I made the mistake which left but it has to be honest, the reason the mistake happened is because surveyors are extremely precise with the math. All of these lines have to tie out based on very, very precise math. And so when the surveyor does it, it's always going to be slightly different than the engineer, because the engineer is not working with the same level of math and tying out all of the lines. Now, when I say it's not the same, it's quarter of an inch here and quarter of an inch there on a 1 acre lot. We're not talking about anything material, but when they tied out those lines from the engineer, the surveyor tied them out. It messed up the math by 115 square feet, and I missed it. I made a mistake, and I've apologized, and that's a sincere apology because it causes all of us pain to have me make that mistake, and I'm sorry. But I just, I feel like I have rectified the mistake, and I have certified that the lot is 50,108 feet and compliant with the requirements. And I'm here before you tonight. All I'm looking for is to build the plan that you approved, a septic and well that you approved that has not moved. The house, the septic, and the well have not moved an inch from the December 4th plan that you approved. All I did was I changed property lines, and they have not impacted any of your setbacks. And I just, it's hard when you get asked to do things that aren't in the regulations and aren't in your past practice. And that's my frustration. To be able to do this, Julie, yes, it can be done. But
So,
I
Bob,
would,
I'm,
I'm
go ahead,
sure,
Daryl.
Bob, that you appreciate our need to confirm information.
that's why
part of
the
what
engineer
the board is
certifies.
supposed to do. Let me keep going though.
Please.
And I believe that we haven't dealt with A&R lots very often until recently. So this is a bit of new territory, and the ever-changing face of things makes it complicated. And I could understand why the health agent asked for more details to be able to confirm that the plan that was reviewed matches up with the new A&R. I understand that. I would personally rather speak with him directly about some of these issues because that's why we have the health agent. And unfortunately, 5:17 this afternoon, and I didn't see it or read it immediately. I haven't had time to digest that. So I do agree with Julie that either we go ahead as we are, or we have more time to review, take a look at the processes and the new proposal. And I'd be
Quickly
happy to do that.
before, Daryl, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but before we move on to Rebecca, I think you're muted again. I don't know if anyone else can hear you, but I can't hear you.
I can't.
I can't hear her.
So let me ask you this. What about the idea that we circle back with Mark tomorrow and that you guys can talk to Mark about the certification that was provided, and the broad board can come to a consensus tonight that if Mark is comfortable with the certification of the engineer on the issues, and he now
Excuse me.
has that.
I would like to speak, Mr. Murchison, you please.
Well, I'm sorry, I was in the middle of
I was supposed
speaking.
to speak, but it was muted. Mr. Murchison, you missed the deadline. I have been on the board. This is my 4th term. You know when the Board of Health meetings are. You know what the schedule is. We knew when this meeting was far in advance. In fact, it's the only meeting of the month. You knew the deadline. You knew everything. We did not have the information. It's not possible for us to review the information, whether it's good or bad. We need the opportunity to follow our procedure. And you did not have special requirements. You have requirements that are made based on circumstances that keep changing. This is, unfortunately, a consequence of the actions that took place. You missed the deadline. The board cannot discuss this further. And I would like to move that this gets tabled. Now you have spoken for a long time. We have a lot of other meeting agenda items. I would like to request that we vote to discuss this at the next meeting, as we should, with the opportunity to review the material and be serve as a board of health. Thank you.
May I speak, Julie?
I, I'm going to pause here. And I want to say, again, Bob, you've said nothing that we are in a disagreement about in terms of the content and substance of this plan.
Right.
And as I'm trying to go through this letter that you've presented now, that's fine. We do not, as a board, allow an applicant to be the go-between between us and our agent, right? So we simply need to confirm with our agent.
I wasn't
In
trying to
fact,
be,
This
Julie.
this is fine. So, and again, you can absolutely work out details with him. That is
Right, and
perfectly
that's what I
fine.
did.
And so
And I
because of the
suggested
timing
you
of
call
this,
him.
as Rebecca has noted, it is the timing of this that we just haven't been able to actually, any of us have had the ability to confirm with him via phone or via email
No,
that this is great with him.
I
But
understand.
everything that I'm seeing in this letter, and I agree with the goals that Mr. Bartlett has in terms of his recommendations, that's fine. We simply need to just confirm with him. That's all that we need. So we can move forward as that can be a condition that we have, or we can do what Rebecca was suggesting. I don't know if you're making a formal motion, Rebecca, and if you were, I apologize. I did not understand it that way. Or, as Rebecca suggested, that we have that confirmation first, and then we approve this plan at the September 3rd meeting. I think either one is fine.
Okay. Well,
Personally, I would like to just move forward today and be done with it. But that's my prerogative, and I hear Rebecca would like us to table this to September 3rd. So why don't we just check in with the rest
This
of the
is a
board?
repeating pattern, unfortunately, and so that
It
is
is a
the
repeating
problem.
pattern.
Just
Yeah.
can't keep being forced to give you a conditional approval. It's not fair. Why do you get special treatment? Every other person who applies to the board follows the rules. They get the material in before the deadline, and we
what
review the
deadline
material.
are you
at the
talking
meeting.
about, Rebecca? What
You know
deadline are
when the
you
meeting
talking
started,
about?
you know that our administrator has to leave at 5, and you sent it in at 5:05. This is not the first time you've been before the board. This is not the first time we've discussed this particular situation. Come on, Mr. Murchison, you know exactly what we're talking about. You're very intelligent. This is very unfair to the Board of Health. You're asking for special treatment. We have to try to treat everyone the same. And you have to get the material in before the meeting with more than 24 hours so we can discuss it with our agent, with our engineers, with you, with everybody. And then when we're ready to have a public hearing, we discuss it as a board. It's not fair. It's not fair.
This is not a hearing, just to be clear.
It's a shame because it sounds like it's not going to be a problem, but it's just not always true. And so we have to do it properly.
Julie, can I just clarify what I was asking for tonight?
I want to make sure for the record, this is not a hearing. This is not a scheduled hearing.
It's not a hearing. This is what we are
No, I
discussing.
know, but
Just to
No, I know. I'm just clarifying so that it's captured accurately in the minutes.
To clarify where we are tonight, a septic and well plan were approved in December. There were conditions put on that septic and well plan. All of the conditions have been met with the exception of the property lines. And that's what I came back to a week ago or whenever it was. Okay. So what we're dealing with is an approval that is conditioned. So technically it doesn't need to come back to the board. If, the fact that you wanted to bring it back to the board is fine, but technically it's an approved plan with a condition of bringing the property lines back. I get the fact that the property lines changed substantially and you wanted to bring it to the meeting. I'm not complaining about that. But here's all I would like to do going forward from here. I would like the board to agree that Julie, you and Daryl or whoever can talk to Mark. And if you're comfortable that the plan that Mark and I agreed on this afternoon, which is now the letter, Julie, that you've taken a quick look at, if you learn that that is acceptable to Mark, that then the plan can be signed based on that. If it's not acceptable, then we will go and we will add all of these bearings and numbers all over this already incredibly busy plan. We can do it. It'll be impossible to read when we're done, but we can do it. But to me, it was much simpler to just have the engineer certify that all those bearings and distances are the same as the A&R. And that was the suggestion. What I'm trying to say is, if the certified letter, if you don't agree that with Mark on the certified letter working, or let's go the other way. If the certified letter, you talk to Mark and the certified letter is acceptable to him and it's acceptable to you, you can just sign the plan. If it's not, I will go and make the plan changes and I will print out the copies and I will go through all of that and make this plan incredibly busy and nothing will be gained. But I will do that if that's what you need me to do. But I don't want to wait 2 more weeks. I want to get the sign off that if I do those conditions, then you will sign it without going another 2 weeks. And that's my request of the board tonight.
We've heard your position. I want to go to Diana, Steve, and Daryl. What would you like to do at this point? We've outlined 2 options.
I feel like we're close. And I hate being like a cow chewing on the cud because just because we did approve the plans, but there were conditions and it's important that the conditions are met, which is why we had conditions. Oh,
Oh, okay. So it sounds like, Diana, you would be fine moving forward with the condition that we have confirmed
yes,
with
yes.
our agent that the
We, of
proposed
course-
certified engineer's letter,
Yes.
which is DeShane Wang, satisfies his recommended conditions in terms of the dimensions and bearings, being accurate and consistent with the endorsed A&R plan. That's fine with me. Steve?
Yeah, just listening to the conversations going on, I'd have to agree with that as well. It sounds like we are very close. Seem to be some details that basically need to be worked out to make sure everyone gets 100% comfortable with this. But yeah, I think that would be a good approach to move this forward.
Yeah, and I think that actually we're in agreement on the details. This is simply that we have not had the opportunity to communicate with our agent. That's really this is
Fair
really.
enough.
the only thing
That's
we're
what it comes
discussing.
down to, right?
And I
right.
And so-
respect that, all of you. I do.
And that is, I think that's actually the only thing we're talking about here. And in all fairness to Rebecca's point is that it's very frustrating when things happen within 24 hours that are not emergent.
As I said, Julie, I got the letter today. I'm sorry.
No, that's
And
that's
why is it
okay.
a rush, Mr. Murchison? Why is it a rush, and why do you get special treatment, and why does our Board of Health?
I'm not looking for any
I
special
thought
treatment,
you were
Rebecca. I'm
correct
not.
when you made your motions. I think we really can't be rewarding this kind of bad behavior that's absolutely intentional. This is not the first time you've done this, Mr. Murchison. It's extremely
Rebecca, I'm not a child and you're
wasting
not
time
disciplining
right
me.
now.
Please
But
don't
you
do
are
that.
behaving like a child. Why don't you behave like an adult and make the deadline?
That's a
and
rude
cooperate,
comment
don't
and
make proposals.
unprofessional
I
and
can't help Mr.
unnecessary in a
Murchison.
regulatory environment. That is
All
a
right.
very rude
Right,
comment.
exactly. We need to enforce our regulations. We need
You
to
just
act.
said to
we
me
need
that
to-
I was acting like a child and I'm
All right.
not. I'm a professional.
Bob
No,
and
in a
you
Rebecca,
said that.
regulatory
please
board.
stop. This is a public meeting. You may or may not
Yes,
agree with someone, but you're asked to be considerate and not to
civility.
talk over. I would like to go to Daryl. Daryl, what would you feel comfortable moving forward with,
I'll
just so I
weigh
have
in
a
just
sense of the board?
briefly. I think for me, the procedurally key issue is having a chance to speak with our agent
Yes.
and just
Yes.
verify this information. And that's what their task is, was to verify the information and the changes and everything aligning and matching up and not affecting the approved portions of the plan, which is why this became an issue at all. The other thing is I don't want to limit us to meeting to speak to Mark tomorrow. I have a very heavy schedule. And I think finding a time, I would say it'd be difficult to promise that we could do that tomorrow. We don't know his schedule, and I know that mine is limited. So that would be my other caveat.
It's not critical to me,
Try and do
Daryl,
it
that
as
it's
quickly as
tomorrow.
possible so that we don't have to have it hanging over our heads any longer, but.
Yeah, yes,
we
I
really
don't,
know.
I think that's fair. I think roughly within the next week, unless Mark happens to be on vacation in the next week, which I have no idea. So Ed, the
Yep.
next mutual available time. Okay, so I'm going to attempt a motion here, folks. So that we can move on with this meeting. So I move to approve the revised well and septic plan for lot 465 Farm Road, conditional to, and I will certainly accept friendly amendments. Confirmation with our agent, Mark Bartlett of Stantec, that the proposed engineer certified letter from Deshang Wang satisfies the need to confirm the presented dimensions and bearings are consistent with the endorsed A&R plan. So we are going to confirm with Mark that this letter is good for him. I see that this letter has a similar goal. Second condition, Bob, the next two will be not unfamiliar to you, which is receipt of the revision fee for this sixth revision to this plan. I believe that fee is $350, but I could be slightly wrong about that. It's in that ballpark. And three, receipt of 3 hard copies of this plan submitted to the Board of Health office.
Julie, friendly, just interjection. If Mark is okay with this letter, there's no need to change the plan.
There's no need to change the plan. I said
And you've already,
confirmation with the agent. Confirmation with the agent. That confirmation will happen either with one of the co-chairs or with our administrator.
no, sorry, Julie, I just want to make sure we understand each other.
Yeah.
So the plan before you tonight was submitted in hard copy already to you. And my point is that if the letter of certification from the engineer is acceptable to Mark, as you said in your motion, then there would be no need for me to give you additional hard copies. You have them. That's all I was saying.
Last I heard is that there were not hard copies when I checked in today. It is possible because it is summer and people have been out and we've been trying to communicate. So
They are there. Yeah.
we need to be in receipt of 3 hard copies. If they're already there, then you can check this off your mental list.
Perfect.
And again, I do not know about the status of the fee. Again, if that has been paid, great, then things will be good to go. And if it has not been, then that fee will need to be
So
submitted.
why don't we leave? I'll work with Jean on the hard copies and the fee. We'll figure out. I know I probably have not paid the fee, but I believe I gave you the hard copies already. But I'll check it out with Jean. We'll make sure both those are in order.
Perfect. She would
Thank
be the
you.
person who.
And I might have a fourth condition if those.
Yep. Yep. This is a fluid motion. Go
Wonderful.
ahead.
But I need to clarify, I don't know whether the latest revision includes the new A&R lot line as approved.
Oh,
or
yes,
not yet.
absolutely it does. Yes.
Okay,
But that's why we need to review the material that we received.
No, that's why the engineer certified it.
But
The
we
plan,
haven't seen it. Nobody has seen it, Mr. Murchison. We need the chance to review it.
All right. So I think Daryl, you're parsing it out here is that we provide, we receive the A&R endorsed A&R plan from planning board. We
Oh,
submit
sure.
that, we submit that to our agent, to Mr. Bartlett, and that he can look at that and he says, yes, this letter is fine. This meets all my intentions and recommendations to the board, and this A&R plan is consistent, and then we're fine. Is that what you're saying, Daryl?
and well, I'm more concerned that the septic plan has the latest
Yes,
That's,
boundaries.
it
yes,
does,
I
Daryl.
just wanted to
That's-
confirm that. Otherwise, I would have proposed a condition that be incorporated into the as-built plan, but we don't need to do that.
No, the A&R plan that was endorsed last night is absolutely the plan that you have in front of you. The lot lines are, yes.
Okay,
That was the whole point for me, was I needed to give you the plan with the final A&R lot lines,
Yeah.
which is, I've had those since July 31st because that's when they were sent to the planning board.
Okay.
okay.
And that's when I got to Shane to do those property lines on the approved plan. So it's a
couldn't
good
remember
point,
which
Daryl, but
was-
it is done.
Yes, I couldn't remember which was the cart and which was the horse.
Fair enough. Julie, could I just ask you to restate the,
I think it would help everyone at this
Yeah,
point.
yeah.
All right, so I am going to restate that what I hope is the same motion that I stated 2 minutes ago. I move to approve the revised well and septic plan for Lot 465 Farm Road, conditional to confirmation with our agent, Mark Bartlett of Stantec, that the proposed engineer certified letter from Deshang Wang certifies the need to confirm the presented dimensions and bearings are the same on this plan as the endorsed A&R plan. That's one. Two, receipt of the revision fee. Three, that the Board of Health office is in receipt of 3 hard copies of this plan. 3 conditions.
So moved.
Seconded.
Does anyone have further discussion?
Oh, sorry.
I can't, if someone's raising their hand, I can't see further discussion. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Please vote by roll call.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Okay.
And so
Um,
Julie, I'll just wait to hear from you in the coming days. Is that the plan?
Yes, you will hear from either Daryl or I or Sarah that any of one of us has, or all of us, or whatever it ends up being, has talked to Mark Bartlett.
Yeah.
And
Would
we
you
can
like
do
me to
that.
send you a copy of the A&R, the, endorsed A&R? Or do you want to get it, you can get it from Heidi, obviously, if you want.
I think Heidi just accidentally sent the wrong thing today. And
Okay.
I'm sure that we can or Sarah will be able to get that from her. I think
If
that's
you
all.
need it from me, just simply let me know. I'm happy to.
I
And
really appreciate that. I really hope Heidi does have it. And I think she will.
oh, I hope so too. I'll also send you, just for your records, just so you know that it's been recorded, the book and page number that I also always send to Heidi after it's been recorded. I'll send that to Jean. I can copy you guys or just send it to Jean for the file, whatever you'd like.
Please, yep, you can do either. As
Okay.
long as Jean and Sarah are receiving it. And
Yep.
please feel free to CC Daryl and I on that if you would like.
Great. Thank you all so much. I'm sorry this was a hard
All right.
conversation.
Bob, do you want to be here when we talk about the waivers for Washington Street, Sherborn Homes?
Would you like me to, are there any questions you have for me, or do you think you're just?
No, we are just going to discuss it so that we can draft a letter to
Sure.
the
I
CBA.
think I'll just kind of hang around and perhaps listen, but I don't need to participate if you don't want me to, or you don't need me to. Yes.
No, I don't think we need participation. It was
Okay.
just a matter of what we take next, and it was a courtesy to your time.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. So I do not believe, going back to Mark Oram, Mark, I don't think that there's anyone, I don't think that there's anyone still here waiting for something else, because I certainly want to be courteous to their time. I don't see anyone. Right.
The
And I think
only item that's on the agenda that
for you is
might
the
relate to
waiver.
someone is related, but not related to that, because that person will be
Recusing, yeah.
moving themselves from the
I-
discussion, but the
I think we
beaver dam.
can, I think we can do that one later. I don't think that'll be.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's,
Thank you.
since we're already in the meat of the meeting, let's go
Okay.
ahead and do. So, oh, look at Sarah, you're so fast. Thank you. So as the rest of the board may be aware, the comprehensive permit hearing for Washington Street Sherborn Homes is currently underway and I think is probably going to be concluded at some point in the near future is my guess. And so one of the things that the ZBA has requested is that we submit comments to them about the waivers that have been requested. If you guys recall that we have approved the Title V septic system for this project. It was like April or May of this year. I'm sorry, guys, I don't have the exact date off the top of my head, but it was recently. And so we are not co-currently reviewing the septic plan. We've already done that piece. So this is reviewing waivers to our local regulations pertaining to both septic and well. As Sarah has here, it's broken down by section. Most of this is similar or the exact same as what we've seen before for other 40B projects, particularly 40B projects of this scale. I'm gonna let Daryl, who I think has digested this a little more than I have, go ahead and lead the discussion through each of the four sections.
Okay. Does anyone have a preference for starting with the harder versus the easier
I like going in
section?
order. I always like to go
Okay.
in order.
Okay. Then, all right, so
It's
if
far
you can,
easier for me to scroll if we go in order.
Oh, it's
yeah,
harder.
okay.
I mean in order here on the, yeah.
Yes, on the order that it's presented in the waiver request. So
Yeah.
basically at the bottom right square, it says that the applicant requests a waiver of all requirements in our sewage disposal regulations, except for, and then you can slide to the next page. I don't have them memorized. Okay, plan, design, as-built plans, and temporary facilities. Temporary facilities is about providing sanitary services for the people working on site while they're there. Since the septic system wouldn't have been built and connected to anything just yet. So those, they don't need, they're not asking for those, but they're asking for everything else. The plans that we reviewed, the key areas that don't comply with local regulations is the separation between the bottom of the leaching field and high groundwater. And also that we don't permit mounded systems for new construction. This would be a mounded system, which means that it uses Title V specified material that does not treat very well. The purpose of the material specified is to ensure that the effluent coming out the bottom of the leaching field is going down rather than out and breaking out of the sides of the mound. So the treatment is not particularly good. I think that's a risk. I'm going to give you my personal opinion on this, and I think that that presents greater risk to groundwater in the area, and there are also a great deal of wetlands around this property, and therefore that means this whatever is entering the shallow groundwaters are likely also making their way into the wetlands and could have impacts there. So nothing could be built there without mounding. That's one question. But I would like to see 5-foot separation to groundwater, because that really is a very important part of our regulations. And it's the kind of local regulation that many towns have enacted across that have similar situations to Sherborn, where wells are co-located on the same property as the septic system. So that is the key one, and I don't know what other people think, but I
So
would
this-
recommend against changing that 5-foot separation to groundwater.
Yeah. And so.
And I will say it will result in a higher mound, which could be a larger footprint for the septic system, which could encroach a bit more into wetland buffer areas. But again, this is something that the Conservation Commission could weigh in on, but the potential is there to have somewhat cleaner effluent, that which does reach the wetlands, that it might be cleaner. Should be cleaner.
Right. So again, it is the ZBA's prerogative, what to waive and what not to waive. But they kind of look to us. And so what would be saying is that the system is raised up a foot. I think that our local regulations and that separation, I mean, ideally with naturally occurring soils, which I understand would not be the case here, certainly helps the efficacy of treatment, especially given the proximity to the wetlands. And so I would be fine making that recommendation. I think it's very possible that they will still waive that requirement, but that is their decision. And I would be fine recommending that be made. That's my 2 cents.
When you say they, who are you referring to?
Oh, the zoning board of appeals. So given in the comprehensive permit setting, we do not have jurisdiction over our local septic regulations. The zoning board of appeals has jurisdiction. And so they look to us for kind of suggestions and guidance on what to waive and what not to waive. We can recommend to them that something not be waived, and they still might waive it, and they might not. And that's going to be, I'm sure, a complex legal.
Which is, yeah,
Go ahead.
which is all the more reason for us to lean towards what would be beneficial for public health, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah, and so that I think we're in agreement on that. But Steve and Diana, do you have any? What are your thoughts on this?
I've got a question. Again, maybe it's just me. So we're talking about the Washington Street homes. There's 4 homes that are going to be built, and we're looking at making these are blanket waivers for the 4 homes. We're not looking at them on an individual basis. Is that correct?
Right, they're 2 duplexes, so 4 units. So 2 buildings with 2 units per building. Yes, that's exactly it, because it is a project. It is the entirety.
Okay, and so and again, I'm sorry, just trying to understand it. So we don't take into consideration individual terrain, different property attributes for the septic and for the wells for this development.
We absolutely do. But in this setting, the jurisdiction of this board is different, given this is a project proposed under Chapter 40B. And so the area that we have jurisdiction over, which is state laws or Title V, we have already made a decision and approved a plan for that,
Okay.
which was back in the spring.
Okay.
What's happening now is the local requirements don't disappear. They get subsumed in the comprehensive permit process. And it is the zoning board of appeals who gets to decide whether or not the requested waivers are granted or if they are denied. And so it is exactly what you said, actually, Steve, is we are using our best understanding and judgment based on the terrain and the conditions to what do we think is the most protective of public health, as Rebecca said.
Okay, so our discussion and eventual decision on this will go to the ZBA, is that correct?
It's going to be in a memo submitted to the ZBA. We will discuss it here. We will then authorize, can't be more than 2 people to draft the memo based on the conversation. And then that gets sent to the ZBA for their review, and it gets posted to the town website too.
Okay, all right, thanks for that clarification. Apologize again, I just
No, don't apologize.
I wanted to make sure I
it's
had
a-
the right
Can I make a
information.
comment?
It's always, it's kind of a, we're getting used to it, but it's always kind of a weird process. Yes, go ahead, Rebecca.
I just wanted to also say, I know there is a misperception that the state doesn't care with a 40B because there's a priority for affordable housing, but the Chapter 40B was a well-intended chapter, which is intended to be for the benefit of certain vulnerable populations. And there is nothing in Chapter 40B that recommends that the drinking water in any development, but in particular a 40B development, which hopefully benefits those intended populations or subsets of the population. There's no intent in Chapter 40B that the drinking water is not potable in those future buildings. So the state does value public health, but they might underestimate risks because it's complicated when private water supplies lack state and federal oversight. And so our board becomes even more important. And so it's really important that we listen to the abutters and that we carefully assess risks and guide the ZBA.
Diana?
Yeah, so I'm thinking we want to keep the 5
This is
feet
not my personal
distance to
opinion.
groundwater for
Yeah.
safety, optimize, that the wastewater is as best as it can be because of the terrain, well, anywhere, but especially because of the marshland in the area around Washington Street. But then are we then saying that we support a waiver to the mounding? Or is that going to be per the terrain at the situation on the specific lot? Because the 5 feet, a lot of Washington Street, yeah, there's a lot of water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
And
I
that's
think
why
that, I
for
mean-
many years, this property has not been built because there is not 5 feet. Hardly anywhere there. So,
well,
and that's a tough one
on
because
this,
we
No, I
do
was
view
thinking-
mounding as substandard in
Mm.
treatment.
on this lot, I will say that we did approve 2 A&R lots by local regulations on immediately contiguous and adjacent to this proposed 40B lot. But I agree
Mhm.
that there does not appear to be a spot on this lot that would meet our local regulations. I think that's true.
So I guess I'm in terms of priorities, we would want the 5 feet. And the mounding typically isn't allowed with new construction, but well, otherwise we're looking at saying it needs to be innovative, alternate technology. Well, or that's up to the builder, that we recommend that we stick with the
Well,
5 feet distance to groundwater.
Since our board is also representing the abutters needs, and there is at least one downhill abutter, but there are others as well who would potentially be at risk with these circumstances. I think we are going to have work to do to ensure that the drinking water isn't going to be endangered of the abutters as well as the future residents of these lots that we approved. And probably we're going to have to take each case individually.
I'm not sure what you mean by that,
time.
Rebecca.
Yeah,
Because all of the adjacent lots have already been approved through A&R under local regulations. Have been
Right.
approved under local regulations and have gone through the A&R process. Those would be
Right,
the
but
properties on Greenwood as well as the two properties facing Washington. I'm just trying to understand who you're referring to. But those will have, I mean,
when,
theoretically, future residents. There may not be a dwelling there yet, but in theory, there will be someday.
yes, I understand that. I mean, of course, I voted against it, and you probably recall that. So I don't need to remind you, but when those septics are installed, they will need to do testing. And so however they can reach those goals will need to be considered at the time.
Wells do have to be tested when they're first established and installed. I agree
Right.
about that.
So however they accomplish that is, individual, whether it's a IA technology or, I don't know.
Diana
getting a
brought
little
up a
off.
great,
Go ahead, Daryl.
Yeah.
Diana brought up a great point. When we first saw plans for this property, it involved, as perhaps everyone fondly remembers, talking about the STAR technologies and had they been fully approved yet or not. So IA technology, which is not a panacea, it focuses primarily on nitrogen, which is a really important contaminant, but not the only contaminant, but it is an important one. And so that could help. Won't help with all things, might give people a false sense of security or what the system can do, and they can dump more things down that they might otherwise give a second thought to putting down, flushing into the septic system, but better than
just to kind of
conventional.
focus us back in here. The requested waiver is to all of section 1, except for the plan requirements, the design requirements, the as-built plans, and the temporary facilities. If we want to do just a complete blanketed, nope, we think all of the regulations should be upheld, which maybe that's overblown from your comment, Diana, and I don't mean to blow past it about the mounded versus parsing out what I think what Daryl was initially saying, which is raising the system, or functionally recommendation to raise the system to provide 5 feet of separation versus the Title V required 4. I think it's really tricky if we just, I mean, just in terms of for the ZBA, if we recommend that absolutely nothing be waived, that might make it hard for them to wade through if they feel like they are in a position where they do need to waive some amount of local regulations. I think if we have a little more pinpointed argument for them, they can take it or leave it. But I would be inclined to recommend that we maintain the 5 feet, but I guess I'm not saying that I think mounding is the best, but I'm just trying to recognize the situation.
Right.
Really just a quick
There
question.
might be a
Yeah, I mean,
hybrid.
this is going to force the abutters to sue, and so that puts the pressure on the individual abutters and financial strain. And I feel like that's not really fair of us to say, to put it that way. I think we need to think about those poor people who are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars out of pocket. But at least one of them is already going to have to appeal to the state. And the precedent has been set where the state withdraws all approved local, at least the one, there's at least one precedent of a fully permitted project where all the permits were rescinded at the state level because one abutter's well was endangered. So I think the Board of Health should not be allowing variances unless it meets the regulations, because we know the regulations are the bare minimum. And we know the circumstances are risky.
We are not the ones we are not the ones deciding about whether or not a waiver is granted. That is
I know, but we're the ones writing the recommendations to whether or not they give variances, and that's I'm just, of course, I was outvoted by you all, so you know that I don't agree with you. So I of course would not be inclined to recommend that they allow waivers, because the water needs to be potable in the new homes.
I don't agree that we are not on the same wavelength on this.
Yeah.
Of course, I would rather not have any waivers, because we have our regulations for reasons, and it doesn't seem appropriate to be waiving them. However, the one case that you referenced, that a project was stopped because the well was going to be contaminated, that stands out as about the only example out there. And over, these kinds of concerns don't seem to be well understood in certain arenas. And
But
I
they're just
understand that.
only-
I don't have the
Yeah.
understanding of all the issues in other arenas either. So that's what we're up against, and we can either just say no, or we can try and come up with something that partially addresses what our concerns are. If it's unfortunately, it's not ideal. I don't think it's ideal. I'd rather just say, let's stick with the regs. Or should we do something like keep the 4 feet, but also use IA technology? I don't know. Maybe there's another approach, because some of the IA technologies allow reduction in the depth to groundwater, but again, when you're putting it on fill, it's just, it's not the best material, the underlaying the soil absorption system. So, but that could be kind of a hybrid approach, kind of using what Diana brought up.
Daryl, that was the question that I had, is using alternative technology, does that buy you a foot or maybe 2 feet?
Depends on the
It can.
technology.
Can, but I would rather say still keep it a mound, and let's maximize what is going to be filtering.
And just double up using the alternative
yeah,
technology and the 5 feet.
material.
Unfortunately, there are other things that matter, and the protection is focused on nitrogen, where in addition to nitrogen and other contaminants, there are other things like heavy metals and manganese and other things which are possibly also going to be there. We know they're relevant, they just aren't enforceable at this time. And so those are also need to be addressed, and it's sort of the technology is lagging behind the information and the knowledge that we've been gaining. And but the problem is, because we know the risks and we see them clinically and otherwise, that's why it's even more imperative that we do the bare minimum. In my opinion, that's my opinion.
Yeah, I think that, I don't think any of us are saying that we don't think that this is important for public health. I think what we're really debating is the fine detail on what we recommend. So let's go back to this so we can move on, because there's a number of sections we have to go through. So I don't think we even have to do a vote. I think we could just get a sense of the board, which is we can either recommend that none of section 1 be waived, or we can specifically recommend that this the one section, I should know this, is not in terms of the 5 feet of separation to groundwater, not be waived, functionally raising the system. I think we could do one or the other. I will throw my hat in first, which is this is more calculated in a practical way. Is I think that we should recommend that the 5 feet of separation be maintained, and that part of a regulation is not be waived. That's my sense. Let's just go through everyone so we see what the majority is. Who wants to go next?
So could we then say that we recommend that our regulations be followed, but especially emphasize the need to keep the 5 feet?
That's actually a potential, a nice way to thread.
Because I'm
things.
concerned about that. Of course, we want all the regulations followed. What's the point of having regulations? But then if a waiver is granted, it's a blanket waiver and yeah, Washington Street, the groundwater there, like all over the place, it's so high that I could see it would be very challenging that, well, to emphasize what's most important with that for the best results we could get.
I'll follow on that and say that the Cape had done a lot of studies looking at, and lots of places have done the studies, but the Cape is kind of a good example of, densely developed, what are we, the third most densely populated state in the United States. So things just show up there earlier and faster than in other places. And it takes a fair amount of time of a fairly dry environment for bacteria and viruses to die. But if they stay wet, moist, they can live for quite a long period of time. So that's kind of a different kind of concern that I don't know if a lot of people think about, viruses that can be transmitted in groundwater. We think of all the usual things, but less
Any
so that.
biological pathogen, yeah, bacteria or virus, I agree. And that is part of the separation requirement, is recognizing there is a seasonality to groundwater. And there, we don't have, nor, is it regulated to be a groundwater mound for this project. Steve,
Yeah, I think it's a good idea to call out the 5 feet and maybe combine that with an alternative system as well. At least it shows up in this document, and then the ZBA can look at that, and they can, if they decide they wanted to include that, they can. At least that way, you're not going to get the chance of just having the whole thing eliminated. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
yeah, I don't know, you're making sense. What I am trying to reconcile is I don't know if it is an appropriate place for us to recommend an IA technology, because we are simply responding to the waiver requests.
Right.
Well,
That
they're
makes sense.
pretty vague. Usually when we get waiver requests, they're very specific.
Can I
So,
make another
I think
comment?
that
Or
we're
I
forced
already
to take
did it.
some licenses because it's not specified.
I didn't want it. Sorry, I don't want it. Can I make one more comment?
Sure.
I was just going to say that I learned a lot listening to the experts that were hired by the homeowners who were abutters, and I appreciated that they were experts. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I've learned a lot, and I would tend to follow their advice, which of course is why I was recommending, that we not approve those lots, but I would tend to review some of their comments. And of course, that my personal opinion would be to not allow variances, not only because it's new construction anyway, but also because of those issues that were raised by the experts that had been hired. And I would follow their advice for maybe there'll be some new, maybe there'll be information that is helpful in addressing some of our concerns as we get, over time, but I don't know.
Okay. Let me just pause for a second. Sarah, could you do a quick check to see if anyone is in the waiting room?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get the bing. I couldn't hear it over
That's totally fine. It has happened to all of us.
I did just admit Sean though.
Okay, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Okay. Daryl, did you catch where we landed as the majority opinion here?
Yes, I think, so if we're going to review again, is that the plan, review again? We could also kind of pose a few options, or maybe we pose a few options to the ZBA. Like, here's our primary, here's, you know.
But isn't this the example that the former chair of the ZBA mentioned, where it had gone all the way to the state level when the town of Sherborn, I guess, was sued, and they basically, it just came down to public health. And because we're talking about endangering drinking water, there isn't really that affects every person who's going to live in the future development, and the bypassing of local regulations that is allowed in Chapter 40B isn't justifiable when it endangers public health, at least at the state level. And that's not my personal opinion. That's according to the chair of the ZBA, who is an attorney, a real estate attorney, and also a couple other attorneys who I, asked about to try to inform myself in the past.
I think you mean the former ZBA chair, and I think you're referring to the Stowe case.
No, I'm not. I am not referring to the Stowe case. I'm talking about a case that was referred to by when the Farm Road, when these cases were initially discussed and voted at the ZBA, the chair at the time who spoke, and Rick Novak maybe, talked about a lawsuit that happened at the state level where the town of Sherborn was involved in a state level lawsuit questioning Sherborn's regulations in like 20 years ago, not recently.
I think
And
that's
at that
related.
time,
Is that related
said-
to the zone size? Our 2 and 3 acre
zoning.
zones? I think that's related to the 2 and 3 acre zones, which I think is very important, and I completely agree about that. I just think it's not quite the same context here.
I want to, no. He was talking about that this happened in the past. Let me see. I actually asked him for the reference. Let me see if I can find if it's in my here.
Yeah, I think we've spent enough time on this particular. We really do have to go through the other.
I'll see if I can find that reference. I don't know.
I actually think that discussing our well regulations is probably pretty important too, because there isn't a state regulation to default to there, and I think the ZBA probably is looking for that especially. Okay, so I mean, I think what I'm hearing is that we are not. I think that the general sense is to not recommend the waiver of any part of section 1. And then to Diana's point, which I agree with, is maybe highlighting that we particularly feel that the 5 feet of separation is important beneath the system.
Sounds good.
If I misspoke, please, somebody, I'm just trying to summarize and move us on. Okay. Daryl, do you want to pick up with section 2 related to the water supply regulations?
Yeah. To get to my notes section. Okay. So again, this is a request for waiver of all requirements except for well abandonment procedures. No well there to abandon just yet. And then other use prohibitions involving use of the drinking water well for heat pump and that sort of thing. Okay.
Can we
So
first
the
review
board-
for the board? I was gonna say, we should, and I'm happy to pull it up currently, and at least what the most recent that I have seen, what we saw on our when we were reviewing this for Title V, is that there is one well proposed for the entire project. It is the project's to serve a maximum of 24 people, and therefore is not required to be a PWS. Do we need to actually look at the site plan? Would that help people to look at that as we're talking about the well?
Yeah, if you have it or I have it too,
Um,
I could share or,
either way, I have like 12 screens open right
Okay.
now, so
if you
it's up
have
to
it,
you.
and then I could
Okay.
read my notes. So,
Let's see if I
that'd be
share the
great.
right thing then. I
Did
think
you
for
want me to
that,
pull up? I'm sorry.
no, I think what we're saying is, if you could stop sharing, I'm going to attempt to share and hope that I share the correct thing. Okay. And, all right, are you seeing a zoomed in version of the Washington Street Homes plan? Okay.
Okay,
This is
I'm
how
just gonna
my-
quickly check
So
the scales.
what, and I believe this was from the plan, I believe it was dated June 5th of this year, so I believe this is the most recent plan. That there is one well proposed here. Here are the two dwellings. It would serve all 4 units. It is just outside of the 50-foot no alteration zone to the wetland. It is inside the 100-foot buffer. There is a 150-foot well radius around, just to give you a sense of scale. You'll see that the proposed, the Title V approved SAS is outside of the 150-foot radius. This radius is also stays just clear of the 100-foot buffer for the isolated, for the vernal pool. Currently, if you look at the 150-foot radius, it is entirely enclosed on the property. It does not
Okay.
overlap
And is-
onto, yeah.
Is this the 8/25, August something 25?
Was there a new site, was there a new plan from August?
Maybe I'm looking at the, let me double check.
If you
That's
have,
what it says.
I pulled this off of the town website and I was doing it quickly. So it's possible that if there's been a new submission since June, then I don't have that. I have the
Yeah,
June.
right. There was an 8/20/25. I don't know what the changes were specifically, but the well shows in a slightly different place, but
Okay.
has the characteristics that you just named.
Do you want to try to find it and pull it up? Or it's nominal?
I'm trying to think if it's, for the comments I have, I think what you're showing matches the comments, but then we should review. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, the well that is shown on the map you have is ever so slightly to the left on the one I have. It's
Closer
more
to
in
the rain
line with,
garden?
like the, let's see, let me, how the rain garden looks different. Yeah,
Why don't I stop
the-
sharing, Daryl? If you have a more current
Okay.
version, we should look at the current version. Okay.
Okay, let's hope that my my lovely internet service could handle this. Oh, all right. Only been 8 months that they've been working on it, or not working on it. This would be- Well, it says I'm sharing.
Ah,
There it is.
You are.
Oh, terrific. Okay.
Could you zoom
Let
out
me
a
just
tiny
shrink
bit?
this. Yeah, I am. Going
Thank
to.
you.
okay? Is that enough? Trying to keep the features as big as possible. There, all right. Okay, so you see, it's not radically different than what you just had. The interesting thing is, so one part of our regulations that comes into play for this is that because it's more than one dwelling, it could fall under the semi-public. But then really the only issues at the moment, because we haven't fully developed the semi-public just yet, other than to define a protective area around them for the longer term, because they are larger, they're going to draw differently than just a smaller set of a smaller population would need. But if we apply that formula that we included in our regulation about the protective area, it comes out to be around just under 100 feet.
Okay.
And I don't have that up right now. It was in the 80s or low 90s. So that protective radius would fit within this radius. And then the key thing about the protective radius in our regs so far is that it be entirely contained within the project's property. So as this is presented now, it wouldn't need anything for a waiver to, or in terms of the definition about it and where the protective area has to reside. So meets those requirements of 6.0 G in particular. And then the other issue is, hold on, well, the number of wells. It's only one well per property. This is one well per property, so that's not an issue. Oh, something in the waiver request didn't have the language right for our regulation, but be that as it may, it's compliant. And let's see. Are there anything? Oh, this would, though, right now they're not proposing an irrigation well, but I think I'd want to recommend that we don't recommend that any irrigation wells be permitted in the future, even though it's not yet on plan, and that future residents should have no expectation of an irrigation well.
I have a quick
So
question.
that's kind of it for this.
I have a question. If there's anyone on the board, and if not anyone on the call, I don't know. I have to admit, I have not been following this hearing closely. Is there a fire cistern being proposed for this property? I know those can be upwards of 40,000 gallons, and sometimes I hope we've been recording continuously.
I don't
I'm
know
going to
what
pause
that
for a
is.
second. It looks like, Daryl, did you stop screen sharing?
I did stop screen sharing just because I wanted to double check that. I think they only asked for 2 waivers, so
Oh, yes,
I just wanted to
they
remind
request under section under the water supply, section 2, they requested a waiver of all requirements except for the well abandonment procedures and then for other
Yeah.
use
Oh, okay.
provisions.
Okay.
And
The
so
other thing would be no waiver to our water quality testing requirements.
right. But going down to, because specifically subsection 7 for the number of wells is called out. I'm not sure why that is, but then you mentioned the irrigation wells.
Right.
and
That's what I was wondering why that was called out.
Yeah, and then my comment was, if there is a cistern required for fire suppression, those are, I believe, 30 to 40,000 gallons. And there might be a well that fills that, or the water is brought in. Is that potentially another well that could be dug on the property? And that's why that would be requested?
So that should be something that is sort of a one-time fill, unless there's a leak or there's a fire and the water gets used. But otherwise, those tanks are typically installed, filled, and it could be filled from on-site, or it could be water trucked in.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting to know, and also to find out from the fire department what have others done for those in town.
I think it depends on the location.
Yeah.
Okay, that was just me trying to make sense of why that was called out. It's my prerogative would be to recommend that none of section 2 be waived. There is no current well that I think anyone is aware of on the parcel. And that they're not proposing an irrigation well, but I especially agree with you, Terrell, about the water quality. So are we in agreement that we recommend no part of section 2 be waived?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, that was a simple answer. All right, Terrell, you want to move down to section 3?
Yeah, yeah.
Do we want to put that back on the screen? Would that be helpful?
Yeah, that would be helpful.
Thank you, Sarah.
Section 3 goes on to 2 different pages. So I do have the 2-page view. I guess I will. Do that. And then
Okay.
Thanks, Sarah.
The first part, the zoning, that's zoning. That's not us. Title. So part of, there is something included in the regulations that we didn't intend to be there, but it was too late when we noticed the issue. Pull it out. It says that, these excerpts are old. Yeah, these requirements are old. So it's a little hard to just go off of this. So if I go off of our current requirements, there is the AHIR, we could circle back to that, but in the current regulations, it elaborates on the 75,000 square feet or 2,000 gallons per day or greater. It also has included that any 40B project, just like it had any planned unit development project. And we have not applied that because we had talked about it when we were adjusting these regulations, that we felt that the other criteria that we had covered everything that we needed, and to specify 40B was not needed, because these were the important criteria. So that's the one that we have recommended waiving in the past. And we wrote that up for, I think, Brush Hill is the last project, I believe, that had that.
Yeah. Yep,
Oh,
that's
issue.
exactly what we did. I actually have that up in front of me. I
Yeah,
think that we
because
should
it
do the
was
same.
under 2,000 gallons a day also.
Yeah. So I think until we can have a regulation update,
Mhm.
I think that
We
we
will
do
just keep
recommend that that be
waiving this.
waived.
Okay.
3.1 and the associated 14.0. We specifically called out for Brush Hill, if this is helpful. We recommended no waiver for bedrock disruption, and we also recommended no waiver, if applicable, for earth removal standards, which are all under section
Right.
3. My prerogative is to be consistent with those recommendations here.
Mhm.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Steve or Rebecca, do you have a different feeling about that?
No, I think it's pretty straightforward. I'd agree with that.
Rebecca, do you have a different opinion?
Yeah, I also agree.
Okay. Okay. You're almost there, Daryl. Keep going.
Yep. Yeah. I think the next, let's see. Small wastewater treatment plant doesn't apply. It asks for a waiver to room count definitions, restrict the homes to 3 bedrooms, just through deed restriction, but I still think it's important to review how the rooms are set up, just as we saw on Greenwood. Having additional rooms, even if they're deed recorded out, are too tempting to use potentially as bedrooms. And we need to think about these houses for the long term, not how maybe the first residents are going to use them or whatever else. And therefore, we have not recommended that either in the past.
Yeah. I have the floor plans presented for the project on my screen. Do you want me to share that?
Oh, yeah, that's
It doesn't
great.
specify a basement space, and I don't know if a basement space is proposed.
Yeah. And I'll note that that idea of deed recording homes to limit the number of bedrooms is applied to projects, a lot of 40B projects. In fact, every 40B project I reviewed a number of years ago that did that was connected to a municipal sewer system. And that's just a whole other game. That's just whether the municipal sewer system has the capacity to treat the volume of water coming, wastewater coming.
Okay. Yeah.
And they were projects all over in Wayland and Southborough and a whole host of places.
To give a quick review, it's the same for all 4 units. So you have an office 1, dining kitchen 2, living room 3, and then 3 beds, 4, 5, 6. There is a primary ensuite, and then there's a Jack and Jill, and then there is looks like a way we've always looked at it is a loft. It's labeled TV alcove here. Again, there's no depiction of a third or a third floor or a basement space, at least in. Sorry, guys, I don't have this turned. Just turn your head.
Look at my head.
I don't know. I don't. And
It's on
again,
the equator.
I don't know if that has been discussed. But I think that we recommended for Brush Hill that section not be waived, the room count definition, the appendix A. And so I would suggest that we're consistent there. And again, the ZBA can decide what to do.
Yeah.
I will say,
I wonder
for
if
the
these
square
can
footage,
even
this
have
is actually well laid out. In my
Mhm.
opinion.
Or given the groundwater situation, I wonder if they will be able to have basements or that whether they're just going to be slab
Yeah,
on grade.
yeah.
Or if they have a basement, they're probably going to come out of the ground, which then is going to mean egress and windows and not like the basement we reviewed earlier.
Okay, so I think that we are then recommending no waiver to the room count definition. Correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. I think that's all of the proposed waivers. Did I
Mhm.
miss one?
Nope.
Okay,
I think you got 'em.
so now we have to authorize two members to write this up for the ZBA. I'm gonna nominate Daryl to be one.
I do, oh,
And I second it.
that was why my
And she
hand
raised
was
her
up,
hand, so.
But it was about other recommendations that we might add on, which is regarding the shared water supply and shared wastewater management that they, as we have come up with before, we said the board encourages the ZBA to practice its administrative privileges and ensure that the condominium association master deed establishes a robust financing mechanism for ongoing operation and maintenance of the shared wells and wastewater systems prior to occupancy. So we could potentially repeat that again.
I think that would be great. I agree. Okay, I will, this fellow co-chair, I will take that. Do I have a motion to authorize co-chairs Julie and Daryl to compile the comments discussed tonight in a memo to the ZBA?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, right?
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Hesitant, right? Okay, I believe we should take the, did we lose Mark? Mark, I think you're still with us. I would like to go to the 10-day beaver permit application for
And
the.
I must recuse myself because I am an abutter that issue.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'll see ya.
Actually, if you're able, Sarah, to pull that up, the application, I believe it's in the file doc, that'd be great. To review, this is where Sewell Brook goes underneath the railroad tracks, closest to Forest Road, where the tracks cross Forest Road. This is being applied for by the Mass Coastal Railroad. And the description, and I'm gonna let Mark get into it because he's actually been on site, is that the culvert has very limited water passing through due to blockage from beavers. But
Yes.
Mark,
and
I'll
I-
let you go ahead.
Sure. And I did evaluate, we received the application on August 13th of last week, 2025. I went down to the site to visit the area, to review the area. And indeed, the culvert on one side is open and there's beaver. You can tell there's beaver activity from the gnawing on the branches and so forth that are up against the other side of the culvert, which I would say only has, if anything, 10% passage. The blockage is about 90%, causing all the water to be retained on the east side of the tracks, if I have that correct, in direction. It's either east or north. And the issue is that the water needs to flow through. It's going to undermine the railroad bed that holds the railroad tracks on the top. So with that noted and the inspection being done on August 13th, I recommend approval of this beaver permit. You also want to note, I spoke to the Conservation Commission agent. She has approved her end of it for this request and gave a 30-day allowance. Beaver Solutions is the agent that's going to be working on it. I was concerned that we may not want to date the application until they say they're ready, but according to the conservation agent, she said they're looking to do it in the next couple weeks. So, and they're looking at removing the debris that the beavers have put up against the culvert, as well as putting in a beaver deceiver type of a situation. They're going to use fencing in this case. I've seen both. I've seen the piping and I've seen the fencing. One thing I would like to note, it will need maintenance. There will be need for maintenance to make sure at least every 6 months to a year that the fencing is staying in place and not damaged by the beaver activity. This will allow the beavers to live in harmony with the water flow that's needed in that location. So my recommendation is approval of this emergency beaver permit. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see anyone from the railroad here. Do we have questions from board members? I see we have our DPW director, who's probably going to be the one maintaining this, I suspect, or would it be DPW or would it be the railroad company?
It may be the railroad group since they own the land right at it and the
Okay.
culvert. I'm not for sure if Sean's involved with it as well. But if he would like to comment one way or the other, that I'm fine with that if the board so wishes.
Yeah. Sean, do you know one way or the other?
It's definitely not DPW. We don't even have access out there.
Okay.
Okay. Well, then that makes it easier for you guys, right? Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Do we have any comments from butters? Not seeing any. Okay. And you said we've already received Concom approval.
That
So
is
we don't have
correct.
to add that as a condition. That's nice.
Yeah.
So do I have a motion to approve the 10-day emergency beaver permit for the Sewell Brook Railroad culvert at Forest Road?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
sounds good. We can cross that one off. And Daryl, we are done with that business if you would like to return to your esteemed position. Why don't we go to reorganization of the board under chair's business? We can close that out. This is just finishing what we had started back in late spring, early summertime before we had Sarah on board. So I would like to make a motion to appoint our acting Board of Health Administrator, Sarah Lappin, to the positions of Local Emergency Planning Committee Representative, DPH Region 4AB Emergency Preparedness Agent, and our Medical Reserve Corps Agent. Does anyone want to move that motion?
So moved.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
Oops, sorry, do we also need to appoint her as administrator?
Didn't we have a special meeting to do that?
Oh, did we do that at that meeting?
I think so, but if you're remembering differently, we can do it twice. Because I can't guarantee that I'm remembering it correctly.
We approved her hiring, did we, and also appoint her?
Okay, so friendly amendment to the motion, and to appoint her as our Board of Health Administrator. So 4 things.
So moved.
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
Perfect. Hearing no further discussion.
Third.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Carol Beardsley, aye.
And a big thank you to you, Sarah, for wearing so many hats on behalf of our community. Finally, it looks like we can go down to other business. We have 2 food establishment permits. We have an installer disposal works permit. Oh, actually, I'm sorry. We have one that's not just approving a permit. We have the Meadowbrook Commons and Coolidge Crossing, the well site. Do we want to, yeah, maybe we should do that before we go through the other things.
And there is
do
a
you wanna
letter,
present it?
there's a
There's a
letter
letter.
related to that, if the board so wishes to see that.
Do you want to present this one, Mark?
Well, yes, if that's okay, we received a
Please.
letter from DEP just noting a change in the well location. And I believe Sean might be here for this. So they did approve the new location of the well number 4. You'll see in the first paragraph. So I just wanted to pass it by the board, just so you're aware of, if you see well drilling up there, what the present status is. They're trying to prove one way or the other if they can get water through the on-site wells. So it's just communication, but I just want to make sure the board was advised.
And so this is relocating it 60 feet to the northwest.
Yes.
And just, I'm going to read it just because I know it's better for
Okay.
screen readers. And the intention of this is and to improve the access for construction, to avoid wetlands impacts, and to ensure long-term access is the reasoning behind it. Okay. Any,
Also note that the town is not very excited about this because it could lead to the draw of general chemical contaminants towards such a large well. So that's why we had originally planned to have these projects, and we hope that we can return to that plan, but to not use on-site water. And the other thing is, if though we had a sewer system, then taking away the wastewater, which would be important because, again, trying to have a large well and a large septic system close together is also complicated, as is hooking up to, for example, Natick's sewer system, and then exporting the water from our town, our groundwater. It's also not good for us. For maintaining our water cycle. So this is a weird situation to be in. Perplexing, I should say.
unexpected.
Mm.
Okay. Hearing no further comment. Don't see any hands raised. Okay, we will move on. So let's go to the food permits. First, we have the food permit for CNC Ice Cream Mobile Vendor. They will be attending the COA event on August 25th. Don't know if we want to pull that up or not. I believe there were no issues with this, but I will confirm with either Mark or Sarah or Daryl.
Yeah, Tom said it's ready to go.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I thought I heard Gene say August 23rd, Saturday, but it might be the 25th because I see that right there. So maybe.
The other one is the 23rd, Mark.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, the one at Silverwood, yep. Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the food establishment permit for CNC Ice Cream Mobile Vendor for the COA event held on August 25th? Conditional to all applicable laws.
So moved.
Seconded,
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Daryl Beardsley, aye.
Next, we have a food establishment permit that we amended for David Verdo Catering for an event held at Silverwood Farm on August 23rd. I believe that we need to make this conditional to receipt of the fee. I'm not sure. I think that it was not clear if the fee had been paid or not.
I do believe the fee has been received.
Perfect. So we don't have to add that condition.
Let me just quickly double check.
Thank you, Sarah.
That shadow is pretty interesting. You can see the person taking the picture.
Yeah.
Yes, received.
Perfect. Sounds good. We will not include that. And I believe Tom has reviewed this and says it is approvable. So do I have a motion to approve the food establishment permit for David Verdo Catering for an event at Silverwood Farm on August 23rd, conditional to all applicable laws?
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Carol Beardsley, aye.
And next we have a disposal works installer permit for FP King Excavating of Dover. I think Fred King Excavating. Mark,
Yes, I've worked with Fred King before. He presently has an applicant on Prospect Street that has indicated he would like to start the septic system. We approved that septic plan a year ago, and it was put on hold for a little bit, but now the applicant's ready, so Fred's coming in to apply. I've worked with him before on other projects with no issues. I'd recommend approval of this installer's permit.
okay. So I have a motion to approve the disposal works installer permit for FP King Excavating of Dover.
So moved.
Seconded.
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Carol Beardsley, aye.
Excellent. Next we have the review of our July 16th meeting minutes. I have a couple of very minor comments, and it was just a few words here and there to clarify, like when it said plan, did it mean septic plan or building plan? And that's all that I went through and added in a couple of words. Anyone else had changes?
I did, it was little clarifying words again to just often to expand just a little bit on the discussion. You know, something was confusing, I added to guests and caterers, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah. That sounds like what I added. Anyone else?
I reviewed them. I thought they looked fine.
Yeah. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the July 16th, 2025 meeting minutes with submitted edits?
So moved.
Second,
Hearing no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, abstain.
Rebecca Honeywell, abstain. I did not have the opportunity to review them.
That's okay. We still
Darrell
have the
Beardsley,
majority.
aye.
Sorry, Daryl, I almost forgot about you.
You need my vote in this.
I
meeting.
really do. We do. I'm sorry. All right, we still have a majority vote. That's perfectly fine. And I actually still have to, I don't think I've sent my edits. Finally, agenda for September. Anyone have specific agenda items? Or Sarah or Mark, is there anything in particular you know we already have on our agenda that you want to note to the board?
There may be a septic system review. It's being reviewed right now with the engineer. I'll let the board know. I'm not sure if the engineer will have that ready prior to the meeting, but I'll populate it on the agenda if needed.
Okay. I don't know if there's nothing that's coming to mind for me right now, but
Nothing
so-
on my end either.
okay, I'm sure things will come up. Believe that covers everything. Did I miss anything? No? Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
There's no further discussion.
Steve Constantine, aye.
Julie Dreyfus, aye.
Diana Hook, aye.
Rebecca Honeywell, aye.
Carol Beardsley, aye.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good Labor Day.
Yeah, you too.
Have a
Have a
good
good night,
night.
everyone.
Thanks.
Have a
Bye.
nice weekend.